idea is this. There's a basic idea in massage that tends to be very useful in our profession, that most of my clients, they hear me talk about it a lot, but they don't necessarily, if you don't have me as your therapist, not that everybody else could do this, but I have a tendency to make this known to my clients, that the idea of short muscles and long muscles, it kind of goes together. So my arm, I flex my arm, my bicep shortens. My bicep shortens and my triceps get long. That happens because it doesn't have a choice, right? The attachment points and muscles are in pairs. So what kind of occurs is that when you have a muscle pairing, like a bicep and a tricep, that do opposite things to the same bone, then you have a flexion, and at the same time that one side is flexing, the other side is lengthening, right? So you sit at your desk for a long period of time and you sit like this, right? Well, when you sit like this, you get the front side of you is in flexion and the back side of you is in extension. So as a massage therapist, what I do is whenever I'm working on a client or with a client with some particular issue, like, oh, I have headaches, or I have that knot in my shoulder blade or whatever, right? Those kinds of issues. And they work in an office and they sit at a desk for a long time. Then what I'll have a tendency to do is they really want me to concentrate on the area where the pain is. And what I really want to do is concentrate on the short side. And generally, the short side doesn't see a lot of pain, right? It's the long side that sees pain. So some of the things that as a teacher that I've noticed, going back to school, going back into the workforce as a teacher as opposed to a massage therapist, I notice myself saying the same things when I'm done working. Like when I'm done with my work day, I'm like, oh, my shoulders hurt, I have a headache, or back of my head hurt, or whatever it is, that spot between my shoulder blade and my spine, right? Those things. I'm dealing with those things now. But now I have the advantageous situation of understanding what I need to do to fix them. Okay. So in times when I can't get a massage, then I have a series of things that I like to do that are based on this one concept of short and long. Okay. So I have short muscle, I have long muscle. Long muscle is usually where I feel the pain. The short side is the part that I want to stretch. So my clients have heard me say often, like, you want to undo what you have done to your body all day long. So if you have sat like this at a desk with your legs bent, your head forward, your head down, depending on how you have your, desk set up, and your hands forward, right, like this, there's a whole bunch of areas of flexion, and it's all curling, almost a fetal position thing. So when you're in that position all day long, all of this becomes short and all the stuff on the back becomes long. Most of you complain about stuff that's on the back side. So in order to deal with that as a teacher, if I can't get a massage, there are certain things that I will try that will help me get rid of that pain without having to see a therapist, without having to see a massage therapist. Not that the other kind of therapist would be useful sometimes. But the idea is to lengthen the short muscles, to lengthen the muscles that are on the short side of my body. Okay, so one of the applications that I find really helpful as a therapist is this one. It's called 3D Muscles. It's a free app, free download. It's proven to be very helpful to me in terms of massage therapy and troubleshooting issues that certain clients might have. But since our focus today is neck and shoulders, then a couple things I want you to pay attention to is it's a beautiful app, actually. It's very nice. But you can see, if you look at the side, you can see how this, looking down at your computer all day long, you can see how this right here is going to be an issue, right? The muscles that are here are going to be short, while the muscles in the back are going to be long. As long as you're looking down, as long as your head is forward, um, all of the things in the front are going to be short, and all of this in the back is going to be long. Now, something that you need to realize is that these muscles are actually deep. So the muscles of the back here, especially your traps, that muscle is attached. Notice your head is up here, right? So when we talk about your body being, or your muscles being long on the backside, this is going to be part of that, because just imagine you take a string up on this side and you pull it up. Well, all of this is going to be long, right? Especially the top half. So when you're looking at this app, and when you're looking, well, not that you're going to look at that, maybe you will. But when you're looking at that neck and upper back tension, it is helpful to understand what it is that you're trying to do. What exactly is the problem? And please understand that all of this right here, after you've been at work all day, all of this has a tendency to be very short. All of this has a tendency to be very long because of the position that your head's been in all day. So what we want to do with this in terms of troubleshooting is, when you get home from work, what we want to do is put it in the reverse, right? So we want to make this long and this short, which means instead of looking down, we need to do the opposite. We need to look up. So that is what I'm about to show you in terms of something that's very relaxing for me, that I almost always take a nap when I do it, after I come home from teaching. So hopefully this next and get to the point where the crown of my head, like this part back here, I want to let it kind of fall off of there. And as I do that, I start to notice the muscles in my back. And they kind of begin, if I've been sitting and hunched over at a computer for a long period of time, it kind of begins to kind of cramp. Right? So I'll lay here, I'll take a few deep breaths. I'll do my best to relax. And then as I relax, I'll just keep scooting back a little bit farther. And what I notice almost every time that happens when I do this is that as I drop back, the muscles that have been long, they start to cramp. Okay? Because when you extend a stretch for a long period of time, that muscle does actually have a tendency to get a little bit weaker. So when you lay like this, after a while, you're going to feel like the muscles in your back are going to cramp. You have to kind of breathe through that. You have to relax and breathe through that. And usually, if I have a headache or something, this is very, very helpful. So you can see what's happening is I'm slowly undoing what I've done to my neck and my shoulders, right? Your traps come up and they attach up here. So, you're giving them slack to be able to move back into a somewhat normal length as opposed to something that's stretched. So, think about how you are all day, and think about the muscles that are short from being that way all day, and try to make them long, right? So, even though this doesn't seem like this is going to be something that will fix that knot between my shoulder blade and my spine, it actually is, because you're giving your rhomboids, your traps, everything that's on the back side of you, essentially, you're giving them an opportunity to have some slack. And 9 times out of 10, what happens when I do this is I fall asleep and I take a nap. It's probably a 10 or 15-minute nap. And when I wake up, I feel great. So, um, undoing that, you might want to get your arms in here after you get far enough off the edge of the bed, right? You might want to throw your arms in here to allow them to just kind of relax and stretch. If you have an exercise ball, that's a perfect thing. If you have one of those giant exercise balls, when you come home from work, you spend 10 minutes laying backwards on that ball. It's actually quite helpful. And it's very difficult to lay there long enough, to actually let your whole body relax. If you don't do that, then you don't get the benefits that you could otherwise get. But becoming more kinesthetically aware of your body and how muscles are feeling is always a good idea. So you're laying on that ball, you're laying on this bed, you start to notice all of the things that are tight or that are tighter than the other side or whatever it is, right? So you want to make sure that whatever you've done to your body all day long, you undo it. And this is one really simple thing that can help headaches, that can help shoulder and neck tension, um, and essentially high back tension. All of those things can be helped by simply giving the opportunity for all those things that have been stretched all day to become shorter, and all the things that have been short all day become longer. This helped, and hopefully we'll see you on the flip side. Okay, take care.